Good morning and welcome along to work with me today. I'm at a customer's house today. What I've got to do is put a concrete spur on the fence here. I made a video of how to, well, it wasn't a how-to, that was a problem. Probably about 3 years ago I made a video on fixing a fence post with a concrete spur, but it wasn't very educational or instructional, or wasn't really a how-to. So today I'm going to make it more of a how-to, so that you can take the information forward when you want to change a concrete spur yourself on a post. The problem is when you're doing a spur on a featherboard fence, you really need to want to do it on the other side where the post is, because it's a lot easier to do from the other side. If it was a panelled fence with the post in between the panels, it doesn't really matter what side you do it, but the customer doesn't want to see the post, the spur, so it's got to go on this side. So what I'm going to have to do is I've got some offcuts of cant rail. So this is a featherboard fence with cant rails. So I'm going to use the offcuts of cant rail to bridge the gap between the post and the featherboards on the other side. So when I bolt it through, I've got like 8-inch long coach bolts. So it'll go through the concrete spur, through the featherboard, through this, and into the main post. Now, I was here yesterday doing a tidy up, and I really wanted to set the concrete spur in first and let it go off overnight, and then come in this morning and bolt it all up, but I didn't have time. So what I'm going to have to do is, first things first, so there's the concrete, it's a 4x4 post, so I've got a 4x4 concrete spur. So the first thing to do is you've got to dig a hole down this side, break away all the old concrete to get it flush with the post, so that the spur will sit right in level and flush with the post, or obviously with the featherboards because it's coming in from this side, and then it can all be concreted in and bolted up. So first thing first is you've got to dig down the hole, get the old concrete out. That's the hardest bit of the job. I mean, I prefer to change the whole post. This is the easier option. Price wise, there's not a lot in it, but the customer wants a spur, so spur's going in. So first things first, dig the hole, get it nice decent sized hole, so I can get the spur in there, get the concrete round it, and then get it all leveled up before it's bolted up and stuff. Like I said, this is the hardest bit, is getting the old concrete out. There's two ways of doing it really. You can either use an old-fashioned normal wrecking bar, which is what I use, or you can use like an electric breaker, concrete breaker. To be honest, with the hassle, this is quite far away from the house, electric-wise, so I'm just going to use the wrecking bar. I've only used a breaker twice in 7 years for concrete that was that bad, so it's just pot luck when you get in there how bad the concrete is. So job number one, clear around here, get the old concrete out, get it ready for the spur to go in the hole. Well, I got it out eventually. That was a pretty big effort. It's what I call old school concrete, like proper old school concrete that never ever wanted to come out when it was probably put in there 40 years ago. But eventually I broke off enough now to get it nice and flush with the featherboards, and I'm just offering up to make sure that the spur is going to sit level, flush with the fence. What I'm going to try and do now is we've got my 8-inch coach bolts that are going to go through the post, through the featherboards. I'm going to try and line up the bottom hole, which is just a little bit, not far off actually. I'm going to try and line it up, bang on with the cant rails the other side, so I can go through the cant rail, the lower cant rail on the other side into the post. And then I'll use my bridging bit of cant rail offcut to go between the two, so you've got a hole there and the hole there for the two coach bolts. And then this one then will go over the hole the other side, into that, straight into the post. That's the plan next. So gonna get that all leveled up properly, gonna get the wrecking bar, wedge it against here properly so that this doesn't move at all, and let that go off. It's a quick dry and stuff, but I'm gonna give it a bit longer, because once I move this away, obviously it just wants to fall this way, so I don't want any pressure on this while it's setting, because once it starts moving in its postcrete, that's it. I'll have to dig it out and do it again if it moves just a little bit. So yeah, get it all sorted. 2 handles on probably would have been better, but I ain't got one. So I've got the water now. The spur is completely level, ready to go. I've actually got the holes lined up, got my offcut in the other side. So I'll set back into the old concrete down here because I had to dig so deep. 2 bags of postcrete wouldn't have been enough. So get it set in, and I'm just going to walk away and leave it. Post mix. So it's ready mix, quick, dry post mix. Just bog standards, not like the old concrete that come out. That's old school concrete. This isn't, but it does the job. And obviously, time wise, you save a lot of time using pre-mixed postcrete. So what I'm going to do is tip in about 1/4 of the bucket of water into the hole, tip in the first bag, and then get a little podgy stick, podge it all around, make sure it's all water's going right through it all. And then I'm going to tip in a bit more water, tip in the other bag, make it all nice and firm, podge it all down, walk away, leave it, let it set, probably going to have a cup of tea. Just top the hole up with some of the topsoil that I took out originally, because it's really good topsoil. I can get some seed out of the van and sprinkle that on, because it's probably about that deep. You can do this with a concrete spur, obviously, because it's not going to rot again when the water sits in the soil. But if this was like a wooden post that I was doing this spur with, a wooden spur, then you wouldn't be able to do that. You'd have to top it all the way up with the concrete just above the ground level and have it smoothed away from the post. That way, when it rains and it runs down the post, it's going to run away from the post off the concrete rather than seep into the post at the bottom, rot it, and then you'll be doing it all over again. So topped it up, go and get some seed out the van, then we're ready. Then what I'm going to do is pile it through, drill through into the cant rails the other side, straight into the post just slightly, tap it with a hammer, put the bolts in, tap it with a hammer, go and get a ratchet it all up nice and tight, job done, tidy up. So yeah, go and get some seed and then get that drilled out. And that's it, job done, 1 spur fitted. Like I said, I do prefer to change the post itself. It's a bit, price wise, there's not a lot in it, it's near enough the same. Work wise, this is the easier option, and because it's hidden behind here, it's out the way. But it is easier to do it from the other side, directly onto the post, without having to bridge the gap like I did with the offcuts of the cant rails to go through the spur, through the cant rail, then into the post. But it ain't going nowhere, it's solid. Like I said, the hard bit was getting out the old school concrete, which is proper. Back in the day, they'd done things properly. Proper hardcore concrete. So move on now. Gotta now cut the lawns here, which is going to take probably the best part of 2 hours because they're huge. And a few hedges as well for them, and then measure up for, they want a new fence put in all the way down the other side, which is 250 feet. So that's going to be fun. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you now know how to do a concrete spur properly. Not like my first video 3 years ago, which was, to be honest, crap. I'll see you soon, bye.